Welcome to Drop Your Buffs. On this episode, the word of the week is non-transferable. Hi there, and thanks for joining us, everyone. It's Survivor Game Changers we're talking about tonight. This is the 18th of May, 2017. With me, as usual, Craig. How's it going?
G'day, Stu. I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good, and it was good to see a bit of a return to form for Survivor, because I think we had a couple of, just pretty so-so episodes the last few weeks.
Bit of chaos is always fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Devil is in the detail.
No, I mean, certainly when they all get up at Tribal Council and start whispering in each other's ears.
Well, it's a new innovation for this series, isn't it? I mean, that hasn't really happened in previous seasons before, but we've had multiple cracks at it.
That's
in this
right.
one, which is good. I love it. I think it's really good. It makes it very interesting. Of course, you've got no idea what's going to go down when that starts happening.
No, and it gives the sound guys more work too, because they're constantly remix the sound to try and match in with people getting up and whispering in people's ears. It's all very dramatic. It's great.
Yeah, there's some fun in the editing process. That's for sure.
Yeah. So we basically kicked off from last episode where Sierra, if you remember, she gave her legacy advantage. Sierra did to Sarah as she left.
Yeah, that's right. So Sarah was voted out. I think Sarah was probably expecting to receive it there and then, but why would she expect that? Because it wouldn't be an advantage if everyone knew you had it. So that's what all the funny looks were. But so there was quite a bit of discussion back at camp after returning from that tribal council about how confused Sarah looked, and everyone noticed it. Aubrey saw it, Andrea saw it, Cerise saw it. All these people saw it, but none of them really understood why. I think they all thought it was a tactic to make Sierra confused about who voted for her or something like that. That's what everyone thought she was doing, but I think really it was, where's my legacy advantage?
No, well, I thought it was Sarah was being clever in that she was giving that look to Sierra
sowing those seeds of doubt.
Yeah, so then Sierra would definitely give her that advantage. So if Sarah looked like it was a complete surprise to her as well, her only downfall was that everyone else saw her do that and knew that she was obviously voting for Sierra, and so they knew it was fake, and that's why they also worried about, okay, well, it's just showing that Sarah is a bit two-faced, and that's put a target on her back. I think that was sort of...
that's absolutely plausible as well. Maybe it's a bit of both.
I think that people sort of, maybe at that point saw her as playing the game a bit harder than what they maybe thought she was before.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, a lot of people noticed it. But that's really all we heard about in the return at Tribal Council, just the look that Officer Sarah gave.
The look.
So then finally we did discover the next day that, and I think we knew this from the confessional at the end of the last episode, that Sierra did will it to Sarah. And next day we saw Sarah receiving that. So she can only use it when there are 6 left, which is not yet. And don't forget, she's also got, and this is important because it comes up later, she's also got the stealer vote advantage as well.
That's right.
Yeah, at this point in the game. So on we go to the challenge. I'm expecting a reward challenge. What's this going to be? No, straight into an immunity challenge.
That's right, and actually sponsored by Frank Underwood.
Was it?
Yeah, well,
House of Cards is coming back soon.
Exactly, it was the House of Cards challenge, wasn't it? So
I see. That's dreadful joke.
But and apparently, I couldn't quite remember this, but last won by Cochrane.
Yeah, I don't remember that either. In 17 minutes, apparently.
No, it's
was it
17? That's right. Yeah, it was 17 minutes.
So, and the way we found that out is because, so what they were doing basically is they had to balance a little, almost like a plate, wasn't it, with one hand, and build a house of cards out of these domino type pieces on top of that, keeping it steady. And the way we found out that Cochrane had won it is, Jeff told everyone Cochrane was the last one to win it. It took him 17 minutes, and Aubrey made this comment about, my boyfriend.
Now, it was a tricky challenge in that it's not only a question of balancing, but then it's also planning, because there's more than one way to build that house of cards.
Correct, and this is where,
as Aubrey found out,
because she ran out of pieces as she got too high. The other thing I thought about this one is now, maybe they're all right-handed, but this would have been a very tough challenge if you were left-handed, because they were all holding the balance thing with their left hand.
Which I am left-handed, actually.
Exactly. That's why I thought of it. And they're stacking it with their right hand. Now, do you think if one of them had been left-handed, they might have swapped their
Surely
thing
they
around?
would have had to.
They would, because otherwise it'd be a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, but I mean, although that would probably epitomise the way that left-handers get treated normally in this world. We're just always downtrodden. I mean, that's what happens. We just have to rise above it.
Your life's been terrible, Stu, hasn't it?
It has been. It's been a daily struggle against you right-handers.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. But anyway, maybe they're all right-handed. I have no idea. But it would have been hard in that configuration, I think, for left-handed. I said that at the time. So as we said, Aubrey did very well. She had an outstanding looking stack. Flew up there, but ran out of pieces, so had to rebuild it. Then it started getting windy. Meanwhile, other people are dropping left, right, and centre. And eventually, Aubrey did get there and won her first. That's her first individual immunity.
That's right. Yeah. Now she won that in 6 minutes, you said. And I was thinking, it probably took those set designers 6 days to set that thing up.
Probably.
And it's all over in 6 minutes.
6 minutes and it's done. Exactly right. So got a great hug gave Jeff a great hug.
Yep.
And we look forward to hearing about whether Aubrey and Cochrane are together after that.
That's right.
But yeah, Aubrey was pretty pleased to have that immunity necklace and said it was great to finally have a high moment. And she does, thinking about her previous season as well, and she says this later on about high highs and low lows, she really does.
She really has experienced the whole.
She has these extremes on Survivor. I think I remember her first season. I think first few days, she was beside herself and wanting to quit. I think, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
So she really does. She gets the full gamut of the Survivor experience. That's for sure.
I think at this stage, everyone is feeling like that they desperately want to win immunity, though, because I don't think anyone's really safe at the moment, are they? You know, it's really anyone's game. There's no real strong alliances that you can depend on, I don't think. And
except for, I think, Culpepper and Troyzanne, who have held together the whole way.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no majority alliance, really. Well, really, I don't think there's.
No, there's not.
There seems to be. So.
Well, and there are individual challenges. Individual tribal councils, but they keep shifting. That is the only one that's staying true.
That's right.
And Sierra, before she was voted out, was obviously part of that as well. Anyway, back at camp, a few names are thrown out there. Aubrey started talking about how Troyzanne is quite likeable, but Culpepper is the physical threat and challenges and will win immunity. And then we had a bizarre sort of exchange between Michaela and Culpepper there, and Michaela's basically saying, "Go and get me fish."
Yeah.
What was that about?
And he goes, "What?" And she goes, "Go fish."
So my initial thought there was she was trying to say to him, "Go and prove that you're valuable by catching fish. I'm trying to save you." That's what I thought initially she was saying, but I don't think that's what she was saying at all. Now that I've thought about it,
no.
It was literally, as he picked up immediately, it was blackmail. You get me fish, and I won't vote for you.
Well, also, I think that she also wanted him to be busy fishing and not looking for idols.
Well, that too, yeah.
Because he was off by himself and all at camp looking around.
But it looked like he was just collecting coconuts.
It does, but I mean, that's
who knows? Who knows how long?
But that's what you would do if you're looking for idols, wouldn't you? You would have a bunch of coconuts with you.
So we don't actually know whether Culpepper went out and got fish, but I suspect he did. Good on Michaela. She's got some sass about it, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's all right. She doesn't back down.
Go fish. Yeah. So and then we're talking again about the weird look that Sarah gave when she at tribal council, and Andrea and Sari were talking, and Sari was saying it's not time for to get rid of Sarah yet, but that she's working me like a cheap suit.
Yes. Yeah. Well, as Sari said, she wants Sarah to stay in because Sarah's sort of she has sort of burnt a few bridges, I guess, not in any sort of major way, but certainly more so than Sari. So I guess from Sari's point of view, it's good going to the final three with someone like that, where she has upset a few people along the way.
Yeah.
Whereas Sari really hasn't upset anyone, I don't think. So.
She never really, well, she may have done, we'll get to that. But in the end, Sari and Sarah, just before we went to tribal council, had a conversation where they were talking about either Andrea or Brad. And they're the two names that came out ultimately at tribal council. So that was interesting. And Sari and Sarah did vote together at tribal council, as we'll talk about. So anyway, off we go to tribal council. 8 left. Now you made an interesting comment as the jury came in here, Stu.
Haley and Ozzy, both colour coordinating again. They're both wearing green. So this is the second time now.
So what did that happen last week?
No, it was when Ozzy first got voted off, and it was just Haley and Ozzy were the first two, and they both came out wearing very similar outfits.
Right.
So this is the second time. So
it could just be coincidence. They might not.
It is. So I'm not saying anything yet, but
you're watching it.
Yes. If it happens a third time, I'm calling it.
Calling what? Or do we have to wait and see what you're calling?
That's right.
All right. Look forward to that.
Maybe I'll have to hit that fireworks button, Craig.
Oh, interesting. So anyway, we had another one of these political sort of tribal councils in terms of the responses that everyone was giving.
Yes, yeah.
Which you really don't like.
No, I just sort of switch off really.
Yeah.
But although the one thing that I did find interesting though, and this is probably what you're going to say as well, isn't it, Craig? Is that
I don't know yet.
Cerie said, it's strange. It's really quiet.
That is what I was going to say.
There's been no scrambling, and then Andrea says, "Yeah,
no one came up to me."
No.
Oh, why would you say that?
No, which obviously now we know why no one came up to her. So
not good, Andrea.
No. So she was still blindsided, even though no one came up to her. So she obviously wasn't that taken aback by that.
Yeah. There's a great eye roll from Culpepper in the middle of this as well. I can't remember what that was in response to, but it was.
He does quite a few eye rolls actually, Culpepper.
He did a good
one. He likes the old eye roll.
He did a good one at this tribal council. So anyway, we went through a not particularly exciting tribal council at this point. We ready for the vote?
Yeah.
Only two names came out in the end. They were Andrea and Brad. Andrea got 6 votes from everyone except for Andrea and Aubrey. Brad got the other 2, and Andrea was sent packing.
Yeah, she was. Well, this is her. Of course, this is her 3rd time on Survivor now. But unfortunately for Andrea, it's been a bit of a case of diminishing returns because she got 5th in her first season, 7th in her second season, and now 8th in this season. So she's been gradually sort of sliding down the scale, unfortunately.
She is a great player, though. We've talked about this previously.
Yeah, I thought she played a good game.
She's great at challenges. She plays a really good social game. She's really good on the strategy. So she's probably should consider herself a little bit unlucky, maybe, that she's gone out now.
Yeah,
but maybe that is why she's gone out, because she is seen as a threat. And
yeah, I can only think that she does play a little bit too hard, maybe in trying to swing votes her way, or to sort of direct where things are going.
She's not going to die wondering though, doing that.
No, that's right.
So Andrea exits the game.
And the episode's only halfway over.
I know. So clearly we've got something else coming. So off we go back to camp. And Aubrey's gone from the high of more highs and highs. Well, this is where she actually said she experiences high highs and low lows in Survivor. So she's gone from having the immunity idol and being ecstatic about it to now having seen Andrea go.
That's right.
Who she was quite well aligned with. And well, in fact, only she and Andrea voted for Culpepper, so she would have felt very exposed at this point.
That's right.
Clearly,
that's right. So she's basically at the bottom now.
At the bottom now, yeah. She's on her own. She doesn't have an alliance. Everyone else voted for someone different to what she did. So she was not happy. She was in tears. And Cerie noticed that it was Ty who was consoling Aubrey, and that gave Cerie some cause to be concerned about whether they might be in an alliance.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't too worried about that because I thought that's just Ty, isn't
That's just Ty, yeah.
So I thought Ty's a very compassionate sort of a person, so I wasn't particularly worried about that at all. But and then Cerie was talking about how he's sort of playing this social game, and I was thinking, well, that's exactly what Cerie does herself.
It's what Cerie does best.
Yeah, so maybe she sees Ty as a threat in the sense of being another
social game, another good social game player. Yeah, that's right. So that was that. Off we went to our second immunity challenge.
Yes. This was a bit more hard to describe than the House of Cards one, wasn't it?
So what have you come up with? Anything?
Well, there were no sponsors for this one, unfortunately. But no, it was. They were up on a pole. Actually, it was a very high pole.
It was a high pole.
And
it'd be a good 5 meters up, I reckon.
Yeah. And like you might sort of snigger about. Cerie, sort of a bit worried about even standing up on that pole, but it was pretty high.
If there's a bit of a wind blowing, and it's just the pole's just hammered into sand, so it could actually be moving a little bit. It'd be
and the platform was only big enough to stand on, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it wouldn't be easy to stand up there. And she did struggle too. She was struggling to balance, and then she got a bucket stuck on something and had to climb back down. And
I had to pull up a water bucket, pour the water into a tube.
Yeah.
That would raise a key that would unlock puzzle pieces that then they have to solve the puzzle. So there was a few stages to it.
That's right. So, but in the end, most of them ended up on the beach at pretty much the same time, assembling their puzzle.
That's right.
Cerie was last to get there, but she was as much in with a shot.
But basically, they were all in it, weren't they?
They were all in it. They absolutely were all in it. Yeah. And it was some sort of circular design on the puzzle pieces. Had to work both front and back.
Yeah, it was an unusual sort of a puzzle, actually. I don't think I'd seen that before.
No, I don't think I've seen it before either. It was a star and it had...
not the pattern, but just like the shapes and the way that it worked and everything was something where they could
a bit Da Vinci like almost.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was a sort of nautical top, sort of a compass top sort of design, wasn't it?
Michaela thought she had it, but she was wrong and kicked the puzzle. Jeff made a great comment. Michaela kicks the puzzle. That always helps. Yeah. Pretty sure it doesn't. But anyway, after a few, everyone sort of got a little bit confused and realised they had gaps at the back of their puzzle. It was Culpepper who came through, and he knew he needed that. It was a huge win for him.
Oh yeah,
he was probably gone.
There was lots of things bleeped and blurred out of what he said after that, so he was obviously pretty happy with himself. But
he was pacing about. He said, you pick someone else. You pick someone else to go home. He wasn't going home. He was pretty pumped.
Well, it could have been Aubrey though, because if she was on the bottom of the last tribal release, so I'm not sure why he thought that. I guess because last time they couldn't vote for him because he had immunity. So
I don't know. But my thought was that he probably was in a spot of bother. I mean, his name had been thrown out as being strong in challenges, and that he was one of the options. Yeah. And he did get 2 votes at the previous tribal council. So which Aubrey didn't.
Yeah.
Although one of them was from Andrea, who since went. But so anyway, back we go to camp, and a bit more scrambling this time ahead of this vote.
There was a bit. That's like we saw Troy Zan saying that he'll potentially use his idol. I think this is almost the only time we really saw Troy Zan this episode, pretty much. He's been very quiet.
He has, and it's good to hear him actually talking about that idol. I mean, he got that way back at the start, and we really haven't heard much about it ever since.
Maybe they just threw that in there just so that we wouldn't forget that he did have the idol.
Well, we've been reminding everybody, but it has not really been talked about.
No.
And then Ty's saying maybe it's time for his big move, and he needs to break away and show the jury what he's capable of. Well, whether anything came of that, we're not real sure, to be absolutely honest with you. But then we had a little bit of drama where Sari told Sarah that she'd heard from Aubrey, wasn't it?
Yes.
That Ty was wanting to vote Sarah out.
Yes. Now this does start to get a bit complicated.
This does, and I'm going to honestly say I don't fully understand exactly what happened here.
No, and to be fair, they didn't really show us enough on screen to know what was going on, but it became very complicated.
Yeah.
And Sarah ended up giving her advantage to Sari.
She did.
To show how much she believes in Ty being trustworthy.
Yes.
So she gave the steal a vote advantage, wasn't it, to Sarah?
Correct. Now, being law enforcement, she probably knew the law in relation to this particular advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Sari then started talking about how she was being not only given this advantage, but she was going to play it.
Yeah.
And that she was going to play it against Sarah.
Yeah, no, I was...
I mean, apart from the fact that you can't do that, not that we knew that at that time, but how does that work from a social game strategy? Like, that all that is going to achieve is really irritating Sarah.
Well, that's why she was at the tribal council. She was saying how that she was basically hoping that the person she was going to play it for would realise the next day that she was doing the right thing. But I'm still not sure why she was doing that. But
Sari said she was doing that to save Ty, or she told Ty anyway she was doing it to save him.
Yeah, now I think that Sari secretly she was going to go for Ty. I think that's why, and that's why she was fooling Ty, because later on in the tribal council, when it all blows up, that's what she tells Sarah. She said, "I was actually going for Ty. I was trying to fool Ty." So it was. And
then Ty, who has 2 idols in his pocket and is running out of tribal councils to play them, to be absolutely honest. I mean, I don't know. I think it's probably 4 as the last time, and we're down to what? This is 7 left. He's got 2 idols in his pocket. He goes, I'm not real sure if I'm gonna play my idol. Now, someone's just told you that someone's gunning for you, and he's still debating about whether he's going to play his idol or not when he's got 2, so he can actually play one.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was going to play an idol.
Yeah.
I thought maybe if you only had the one idol, but the fact that he's has
got
2,
he's got a backup. And the other thing about that is everyone will think it's out then.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, they'll think he doesn't have another one. And so he can really cause all sorts of chaos at a future tribal council because people go, okay, well, he's lost it now, we can vote for him. And he'll, that would be just a crack up. Anyway, all that lies ahead of us.
No.
But anyway, off went to tribal council. The common theme was everyone's lying to each other. There's lots of lies.
Yes, and
Sarah
tonight we'll show where the
Suri said
deception is coming from.
Yeah, well, that was Suri who said that. Yeah, Troy's answered, yes, there's lies. Michaela said there's lies. Ty says, I'm scared. Will he play the idol? Do we think he'll play the idol? Anyway, so we're ready to vote. Suri says, hang on a minute, Jeff. I've got this advantage. And all hell breaks loose.
That's right. Now, she said, there's a rat and the person I save will thank me.
Yeah.
So who do you think the rat was?
Well,
it was never made clear, but I can only think for some reason it was Ty, and I don't really know whether it was really justified or whether Suri was making up the fact that there was a rat at all. Whether she was making other people think that she was saving them from this rat or what.
I wonder whether she thought Sarah was the rat.
No, because I think that Suri was going to go for Ty.
Yeah.
And that's why she says the person I save will thank me, and that's why she.
It's almost sort of saying to Sarah, you should be playing this for yourself. Oh, she can't play it. Oh, yeah, sorry, you should be playing this for yourself. Yeah, I don't know. It's all very confusing. As you say, I don't think we were given enough info. But Sarah takes umbrage to Suri trying to play the advantage and says it's non-transferable and you can't steal it from.
Yeah, and she
says, well, I didn't steal it from you. You gave it to me.
Sarah was very sure of herself.
She'd read the rules. She knew how that advantage worked.
Yeah.
Suri hadn't done her due diligence.
There weren't that many words on that piece of paper, really, were there? It wasn't like it was fine print, I don't think. So
no, non-transferable is very, very clear.
No, or maybe Suri, to be fair to Suri, maybe she didn't have much of a chance to have a good read of it because she had to do it secretly so no one else could see her.
Maybe.
Do it. So I guess there's that. But then
it would have taken 10 seconds to read that.
Yeah. But then, well, of course, Jeff then said the key word is non-transferable.
Yeah, that's right. So he essentially made a ruling that no, you can't use it.
Yeah, and he said something like Sarah can give it to you as like a evidence of faith, or something like that. But then I thought about that and I thought, well, is that really evidence of anything though? Because you can't do anything with it. You can't. It's only really telling someone that you've got it, I guess, and you don't even have to give them the thing if you just want to tell them about it. So
and
I'm not sure.
This is the 7 tribal council. This is not the 6 tribal council.
No, that's right. But the one where there's 6 left, though, and I think that's the legacy one that is the guaranteed immunity.
I think the wrong one. You're quite right. Yeah, quite right. So anyway, that triggers the mass scramble is on again. No, Sarah asked for it back, didn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
And she got it back, didn't she?
She did. Yeah. She did because then she ends up playing it.
That's right. Yeah. So she looked terrified throughout the whole scramble thing that was going on.
Yes. No. There was lots of whispering. There was lots of whispering and get back and slide away and slide this.
Yeah. Michaela told it was Troy Zan she was saying to get away and
yes, that's right.
Anyway, so everyone's talking to everybody, and at this point, I don't know about you, but I had no idea what was about to go down.
Now, Suri tries to explain to Sarah. She says she was going to vote for Ty. Just ask Michaela if you don't believe me.
Yeah.
So that was the only evidence I had that that's what Suri's plan was all along, and maybe Ty was the rat and so on. But yeah, who knows? So, and then Sarah ends up. She does use her advantage in the end, and she uses it to take Ty's vote.
Correct.
So that really forced her hand because she obviously hadn't planned to use that advantage then.
That's right.
But yeah.
So she played that. Off they went and voted. We then get to the point where Jeff asks if anyone has a hidden immunity idol. I was convinced Ty would play it, and then he didn't. And my reaction was, "Oh, Ty, honestly, to go home with one idol in your pocket would be bad enough, but to go home with 2." Particularly at this point in the game.
He seemed very calm, though, didn't he? He seemed very assured of himself. And I don't know why he would feel that.
Was there something we were just not shown? Did Tribal Council go on much longer than we saw and he had every reason to be comfortable? Because the people he trusted told him that he's safe. Who knows? We didn't see it. Don't have enough information to know. But yeah, he looked calm and did not play it. I thought he was gone, to be absolutely honest.
Yeah.
I thought he was
gone.
Me too.
For
sure. But no.
I just felt sick in the stomach when that happened.
Yeah, no, that's not what happened. So Ty didn't vote, but Sarah voted twice. And we ended up with Michaela with 4 votes, coming from Brad, Troy, and Sarah's 2. Ty got 2 votes from Aubrey and Michaela, and which means Aubrey's on her own again after this vote. And Suri voted for Aubrey. So we had a interesting spray of votes going everywhere.
Well, really, Aubrey has really been pretty much by herself the whole season.
She has.
She has had a rough season, and even her previous season, it was a lot like that as well for her. So she's, she has had a rough trot. But look, I'm very sorry to see Michaela go home.
You're a big fan, I know.
And she is the last person in my fantasy survival league, so
we haven't
talked
about that for a few weeks.
No, well, there hasn't been much to talk about, has there?
I've still got Suri, so you're completely gone.
You've got Suri, yes. Yeah. That's it for me. I'm done. So
Michaela's good fun though, isn't she?
Oh, no. I mean, she's great, and I think that we'll probably see her back again.
Yeah.
She has improved over the last season because in her first season she came 14th.
Okay.
This time she came 7th.
Right.
So
and she made her pitch to the producers in her confessional, and she got voted out. I love coming back for a third time. Right. She said, so looked at the camera and made it pretty clear she wants to do it.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that we might see her come back.
Right.
There's a good chance of that.
So we're down to 6.
Yeah, we're down to 6 now. I was just thinking about, because we've just got the one big finale episode left. We've got 6 people, and I was just sort of thinking through ahead as to who I think we might get to at the end.
Okay, yeah.
So what I reckon is, I think Aubrey and Troyzan are out because we really haven't seen very much of them throughout the whole season. So I think if either of them were to be in a winner or in the final 3, I think they would have shown us more of them on screen.
So you're saying the editing is the clue?
Yes, yep.
Or the lack of
for those 2, yeah.
Interesting.
For those 2. So then that leaves us 4. Now I think Suri is not going to win the final 4 challenge because she's not great at challenges, and she's also too likable. So no one's going to take her to the final 3 either. So I don't think that she'll get to the final 3 for those reasons.
So is that Suri?
Suri.
Right.
So that leaves us with Brad, Sarah, and Ty, which I think will be the final 3. And then out of those, Ty won't win because he's not great at speaking and he's not really respected as
his strategic play is not is wishy-washy.
So I reckon it comes down to Brad and Sarah. I reckon one of those 2 will be the sole survivor, and of which either of those could win, to be honest. I think it's 50-50 between those 2.
I agree. I would probably lean towards Sarah, but only because I think her strategy has been a bit more overt than Culpepper's has. Yeah, well, Culpepper's just been basically... He's pretty much had his same alliance, and winning challenges is his main... Correct. But he's been the epitome of the theme of the show, which is game changers. He's played a very different game this time. He's adapted... He's matured his gameplay, and that might be respected. Interesting the way you put that. I still wouldn't be surprised. Suri, I think, is too likable. So I think anyone up against Suri is going to struggle because she's so well liked by everybody. So I agree that I think she's probably in a bit of trouble. I think Ty probably will make it to the end because he won't be seen as a threat. Aubrey, though, I'm not so sure we can counter out so quickly. Even if she does get to see her at the end. Yeah, well, even if she does get to the end, I don't think that she could win though, because she's I guess you'd see her as pretty ineffectual, really. Yeah. She hasn't really done. But that again might be a reason why someone would take her. That's right. She might possibly get to the final 3, but I can't see her having a chance of winning. Well, we'll find out. It's going to be a cracker of a tribal council coming up here because we've got Ty's got two idols. Yes, that's right. Troyzan's got 1. Sarah still has her immunity idol that she can play at 6. So I would say she almost certainly will play it next time. So Sarah's safe next vote. That's right. And I guess Ty has to. He can only play his 2 idols at the next 2 at 6 and 5 tribals, can't he? Can he play it at 4? I don't think so, because the 4 really is decided by that challenge, and then that decides what the final 3 is. So I don't think that. I think he has to play it at the next 2. So I think that Ty's safe for the next 2. So I think Ty will get to the final 4. Yep. Sarah gets to the final 5. Next week, well, it's the last episode next week. It is. It's going to be a cracker. We're going to be reeling from that, I think. That's right. Always great. Well, thanks again, Craig, for another great episode. Pleasure, Stu. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you for a big finale episode
next week.
Definitely. See you then.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.